Hello and welcome to my studio. My name is Ido Agassi and today the people have spoken. After making a video about how I cut with my board shears, many of you wrote me that they are having struggles cutting their boards straight, and that is why I'm making today a video about how to cut manually your boards just with a ruler and a craft knife. So with an idea in mind, let's bind. I'm going to start with talking about the craft knife. This is quite an old craft knife, but anyone could do the work. I'm using the big one for cutting my boards because you can hold it more firmly when you cut, but you can also use a small craft knife that would work the same. Let me bring a board, and I think the first thing that you want to make sure, probably the board came in a 90-degree angle, but not always, so you can line it up on your cutting mat, or you can take a triangular ruler that gives you a 90 degrees just to make sure that you have a 90-degree angle. And if not, let me put it like this here. I'm going to bring a needle. This is just a needle connected to a piece of plastic, and I'm going to mark 2 marks. Now, the reason I'm using a needle and not a pencil is because the point of the needle is always the same, and with the pencil it can change if the pencil is sharp or not, and we want to be very exact here. So I have 2 points here, and I want to put my ruler between the dots. But before, let's talk about rulers. I use quite a thick ruler, okay, because today many of the rulers are very, very thin and they are very wobbly, and we want something that is quite firm, that you can hold it and it won't move or bend. And also, when working, if you don't have a lot of experience, when you are working with a ruler, there are rulers that can protect your hands while cutting because the knife can go on to your fingers. As you saw in all my videos, I use this kind of a ruler, but there are a couple of things you need to take into consideration before cutting with your craft knife. So I'll use my regular knife, but again, you can use this one and that would protect your fingers. I'm putting my ruler between the 2 dots, exactly in its place, and then I'm holding the ruler and I'm making sure that my fingers are not in the way, okay? So I'm holding the ruler and I'm taking my craft knife, and my first cut is a shallow cut, okay? I don't want to go with a lot of force because then the ruler is moving or things are getting crooked, okay? So I'm just going with a shallow cut. This is like a pioneer, a path for the rest of my cuts. And now I'm going deeper and deeper. Okay, see that you can't cut it in one go, not in 2 and not in 3, okay? It usually takes 5, even 6 times, okay? So you just repeat the process and go inside and when it's disconnected, only then I take off the ruler, okay? Now that I know that I have a straight line, then I can start cutting everything. So I'm going to take my weight, and now I can see, and that's great that this happened, when I'm putting the board to my weight, I can see there's a little bit of gap. That means this side is touching my weight, just 0 amount, okay? And here you can see that there's a little bit of a gap. What you do then, you take, this is just a piece of wood with sandpaper, and you can just sand the edge like this. You try to hold it straight. If you don't have sandpaper, you can also use a fingernail file. But the importance is to hold it straight. And there are times that you want it with taking off a little bit of the edge of the board when you're making the binding, okay? So it won't be sharp. So you can take it off a bit. Let me clean area. And now when I'm going to put my board to my weight, it's going to be straight. Now I'll take a ruler and I'll mark, let's do 20 centimeters. I'm marking once, and 20 centimeters I'm marking twice. Now again, the ruler between the marks, you know what, let's do with this kind of a ruler. So I want the ruler between my marks. I'll take my knife, first shallow cut, and then I'm going deeper and deeper. What do I need to pay attention? I need to pay attention that the knife is straight and I'm not cutting with an angle. There are times I'm cutting with an angle, but that's a different reason. I want it straight to the ruler and then I'm going up until the end. And this is disconnected and I can take this off. And now I have an exact measurement. Let me bring it to my weight. You can see it is completely straight. And again, you can take your sandpaper and just take off the sharpness of the edge. Now I want to show you a pro tip. Let's say I want to cut the spine and the spine is 1.5 centimeters. So I'm going to mark here and mark it here. And now when I'm taking my ruler, it is difficult to hold it because it's wobbly and falling down because this is a small strip. So what I do is I take another piece of board, the same thickness, and that can help me hold my ruler straight. Okay, it's not in an angle. I'll take my knife and again, a shallow cut and then going deeper. I'm keeping on going, making sure that the knife is straight. And when I'm finished, I can move it aside and move my boards. So I think with practice, it gets easier and easier. Go multiple times, protect your fingers, okay? See that they are not in the way and make sure that the ruler doesn't move when you're cutting. If this video was helpful, make sure to see my playlist about bookbinding basics. Again, thank you for watching and for being here, and I'll see you in my next video.